Hi there, my name is Ryan Kendrick and I'm a musculoskeletal physiotherapist and also the developer of Dynamic Tape. I know that many of you are getting some fantastic results with your Dynamic Tape, and today I want to introduce a new concept to you called power banding, or Dynamic Tape power bands. Many of us constantly fine-tuning what we're doing with the tape, and sometimes you just feel that you need a little bit of extra energy absorption, load absorption, or a little bit of extra assistance or recoil from the elastic properties in the tape. So what we've started doing is creating power bands, and what a power band is a laminate of several layers of tape, 2 or possibly even 3 depending on what we're trying to do, layers of tape laminated together and then applied to the body part as one strip of tape. Once we've applied the power band, which is generally a 2-inch laminate, we will then put the wider 3-inch or 7.5 centimetre tape over the top, which will allow us, because of the additional width, to actually secure the tape to skin on all sides of our power band, therefore giving us a very secure taping application, and in the end also adds an additional strip to provide additional strength to our technique. Now, not only does the power band give us more energy or more assistance, more resistance, but by laminating the layers of tape together, it actually changes the properties of the tape such that not only is that recoil stronger, as I mentioned, but it holds its elastic properties for far longer, keeping it far stronger, and also maintains that width in the tape very, very well indeed, which makes it very nice to apply to the body part. So we'll now have a quick look at how we create our laminate, and then we'll look at some taping applications using the power banding techniques. So how do we create our power band? It's really quite simple. We just take identical lengths of our tape, and we're just simply going to create a laminate or a 2-ply or 3-ply version of the tape to increase that resistance in the tape and to bond it together so that we improve those physical properties to give us stronger elastic recoil and so that it maintains that elastic energy for far longer. So simply take your first layer. Now, if you have sufficient time to allow it to bond, it's not always necessary to use an adhesive spray, but if you have one, just to improve the adhesion again, generally spray the back of your first layer lightly with your adhesive spray and just let that dry for 20 or 30 seconds until it goes a little bit tacky. Then, taking our second layer, we're going to simply apply that to the top. Now, it's important that we don't apply any stretch to the tape as it goes on. The dynamic tape is laid on the backing sheet without any stretch on it. So we want the stretch on both pieces to be the same. If there's a difference or within the degree of stretch, then we will get a shearing effect and it won't laminate as well together. So make sure that the top layer is going on with no stretch on it as well. Again, as you do with the body, try not to touch the ends as you'll get a better adhesion. And then simply line that up and place it in contact with the underneath layer. It's best to do this on a smooth surface if you can, you'll find it a little bit easier. And then just let it lay down. No stretch, as I say, we're just laying that onto the underneath layer without any stretch. Okay. Then give it a good rub, get that heat going and hold that down to allow that to start to bond really well. Now, if you wanted an additional strip, a third piece for even more power in your power band, you can certainly add an additional strip. Most applications 2 is enough, but some of the larger athletes, for example, or some of the lower limb techniques, the patella tendons or possibly the Achilles, antipronation type things as well, you may want an additional one. Then, as we always do, just round your corners off This will give you a nice smooth edge as well to the two layers. And there we have our power band that's now ready to go on as one piece of tape. This will ensure that it's applied with the same degree of stretch between the two layers, as opposed to putting one layer on and then putting a second layer over the top. Now we can ensure that we've got the same degree of elastic recoil or elasticity stretch in the tape. It will be acting as one piece of tape rather than two, and we'll get a far stronger application, far longer lasting application as well. Now remember, with the power band, we're now talking about considerably more force on the tape and therefore on the attachment. So you do need to make sure that you leave nice large anchor points as you normally would, 2 inches or so, 3 to 4 fingers width at either end that has absolutely no tension. It's also very strong, so we only need to absolutely just tension it till we start to feel the resistance. We're not going to tension this tape strongly. As usual, we will create our tension by putting the tape on with the body part in a relatively shortened position so that the tape is under tension during that part of range when we want it to be absorbing load or re-injecting that energy back into the system. Once we have our power band strip on, we'll then put a 3-inch or 7.5 strip layer over the top, and this will secure it. It will add that third or fourth potentially additional layer of elastic recoil, and by completely enclosing the underneath power band, it will adhere really well to the skin and give us a nice secure taping application. As well as being aware of the risk of blisters from this additional strength in the tape, you also may find that you need to use the adhesive spray a little bit to get a good bond to the skin, because the tape is going to be pulling on there more than what it would be without. So make sure that you warn your patients very well that if they do get any of that stinging, itching, burning, irritation, that they may be at risk of getting a reaction and to take it off. The power bands are therefore really intended for a shorter duration wear, perhaps for a match or a training session, or perhaps up to sort of a day or so, or short of a day, 16, 18 hours, to reduce the risk of people getting reactions. Now, if applied correctly, you certainly can leave them on for longer than that, but it is very important to apply them very carefully, minimal stretch, large anchor points, and warn your patient very, very well if they do get any of that stinging, itching, burning, irritation, that they may be developing a blister or a traction reaction to that mechanical shearing on the skin, and they do need to remove it immediately.